She used to be an actress.
She ever do anything I saw?
I think her biggest deal was she started a pilot.
What is a pilot?
Wait, no, this show's on TV.
I don't watch TV.
Yes, but you're aware there's an invention called television. On that invention, they show shows.
Yeah.
Well, the way they pick the shows on TV is they make one show, and that show is called the pilot, and they show that one show to the people who make shows on the strength of that one show. They decide if they want to make one more show. Some get accepted to become TV programs, some don't become nothing. She started one of the ones that became nothing.
Good job. Do you do sex as fast as you can talk?
I try to do sex fast.
To get it over with, or
I hate it. I hate sex. I hate the way it feels. I hate the way it makes me feel. Welcome to Couch Pilots, all of my friends. It's the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, and with me is the man who's had his fair share of blondes. It's Captain Philip. Rest assured, good evening. I love you.
Good evening. I love you too. How are you?
Good. Hey, you've had your fair share of blondes. You ever date a bald lady?
No, I mean really short hair, but never bald.
Female pattern baldness?
No.
I think if you,
I like to see a neck, but I don't know if I want to see the top of the head.
Right. Yeah, I know. I would date a lady who had shaved her head.
Yeah, like a Sinead O'Connor kind of look, right?
And not even saying I wouldn't date a lady.
The girl from the Go-Go's, the short, cute, dark-haired girl from the Go-Go's that played guitar.
Yeah.
She used to have really, really short hair.
It works for some girls.
Yeah.
I think if you said to a lady, "Hey, do you want to be a big fat lady, or do you want to be a bald lady? Like get female pattern baldness?" I bet they say I'd be fat.
Really?
I think ladies so strongly hold on to the hair and the vanity of hair. And I totally get it. I understand.
But they can get wigs. Like my mom has wigs.
Okay. Is your mom bald, or does she just like to keep it short?
No, she's very, very thin. Yeah, she's very, very thin.
Thin hair.
Yeah, one day I was over there and she had one on. She had it on, which I don't know why. You're at home. Why do you have it on? But we were talking, and then she just took it off while we were having a conversation and started itching her head. And I go,
startling.
I go, do not do that. You either come in the room with it on and leave it on, or you don't come. You don't have it on when you come in the room. You can't in the middle of a conversation take your wig off. And she's like, well, it's hot. I'm like, well, then you should have came into said room without it.
It's like you sitting there across from a guy and say, hey, where do you want to go for dinner? And you guys are having a conversation about it, and then the guy pops his teeth out.
Right.
Come into the room with the teeth out or leave them on.
Yeah.
You can't jar me with your physical appearance changing that much.
Yeah.
It's off-putting.
Yeah, it's odd. That's like it right now if I just like took my pants off.
Yeah.
I mean, you've known me a long time. You've seen me with no pants on, but still, it's just like you don't do that kind of stuff in the middle of a conversation.
No, it's not polite. Even you and I have lines of etiquette
that
we do not dare cross.
We walk in. Sometimes we walk into the pilot's lounge after late night. We had to take a shower here at the pilot's lounge. We walk out in just a towel. That's fine. You walked out there in just a towel, but
that's right.
You didn't strip down and put a towel on to go take the shower in the middle of a conversation.
I went back and listened to an old episode of ours. One of the first ones we did during the pandemic when I had to be at home.
Sure.
And I remember that I told you on that episode, I was like, I'm going to do the show naked.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're over here in the pilot's lounge, and you're like, yeah, right, it's a joke. But you play into it. But and I told you later, I genuinely did it naked because in my head I was like, there's no one else here. I'm never going to have an opportunity to
podcast naked.
Yeah, probably. So I said, I'm just going to do it.
It was on your bucket list, your podcast bucket list.
Chuck it in the fuck it bucket, man. Right? I got naked and I really ruined the seat that I was sitting on.
I bet. Gets a little.
Well, here's the problem. I wipe back to front.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They tell you got a really dirty ball sack.
It's all stained up.
You got a stained taint.
Yeah, I was told that you could use the same material you use to whiten teeth on a cotton swab. If you put that on your balls, sometimes that'll get rid of the stains.
That's good. There's no hair there probably anymore, but
no.
You got male pattern baldness on your balls.
I have male pattern baldness. That's right. Yeah.
Isn't that what you just said it was?
You said baldness, right?
Yeah.
I said baldness.
Oh, so you did a pun joke.
Right.
Sorry. For all the listeners, I'm doing the podcast tonight and next week sober, so it's kind of difficult for me to get my groove.
Yeah, you got to get in the groove, boy. You got to prove your love to me. You are. I know we're going to try to keep this tight, this episode, but I do want to mention that this will have released after you've been to Vegas, but now you are mere days away from leaving, right, as this is being recorded. And you seem, I don't want to say you seem off your game. It might have to do with the lack of drinking that you've done today, but I feel like the tension is mounting. We've talked a lot about you and the prep, getting ready for Vegas, and I've thrown out some suggestions to maybe help you. It's crunch time. Days away. What is the plan? What is your final plan cemented going into Vegas?
In regards to the schedule?
Well, I know you got the schedule of when you're actually going to bowl, but like in your off hours, the time that you're worried about and anxious about, what does that look like?
Right.
Now?
Okay. So I'm going to get there Friday at about 4 o'clock their time. Okay. I'm going to have the stress of getting in an Uber, stress of getting to the hotel. I'm actually going to try a trick. I'm going to try the $20 trick because supposedly it still works in Vegas. So when I give them my credit card and my driver's license to check in, I'm going to fold a $20 bill and put it in between them. And when I hand it to them, I'm going to say, "Is it possible to get a room facing the Strip?"
Oh, okay.
And supposedly that still works. So we're going to try.
Where did you hear that still works?
Online.
That's awesome. I would love to know if that still works.
Yeah.
I've
because
never done that.
Usually people will go, is there any chance of getting an upgrade? Well, I don't need an upgrade. It's just me. I don't have to impress the wife with
let me see a cool view though.
I don't want to look at for 7 dates. I don't want to look at like an air conditioning unit for a casino.
Yeah.
So
I hear what you're saying.
And it's right across from the Bellagio, and so I just look out my window and
those
watch
famous fountains.
Yeah. So
right? I want to know if that works.
$20. That's my first gamble I'm doing. Okay.
I would do that too. That's fun and that's smart. You really have nothing to lose. Like if you give your insurance card and your license and $20 to a cop, there's probably going to be some pretty big consequences.
Sure.
But you have nothing to lose except the $20. And who gives a shit?
Right, I'm going to lose a lot more than $20 anyway.
I'm really glad to hear that. I think that's a fun idea, and I can't wait to hear if that worked or not.
So my plan for the first night, Friday night, is just to get settled in, probably take a nap early in the day. And go down and try to find something to eat, something different, but I'm not going to spend $120 the first night on a dinner, but something that I don't normally eat here. Like, there's so many different places there that I don't have a chance to eat at. And then the first night, lose $50. Don't go crazy the first night.
How do you know you're going to lose?
I'm only going to play $50.
How do you know that though?
No, that's what I've set for myself.
Via a card or a $50 bill, because it's really easy to say, I'm done drinking soda pop. I'm sick of being a fat motherfucker. Right. But then it's like every time I look at soda, I was like, oh, I'll take 2.
Right.
So how do you know you're only going to spend 50?
Because I'm setting rules for myself right off the bat.
Okay. So there's really nothing in place except your own willpower.
Which I have so much willpower.
You know what? If you think that you can do it, then I believe in you.
Well, I have to. I have to be able to do that, because if I don't, I'll come home. I have 7 days I have to be there, and I have to afford 7 days.
I know, but we talked about ways that you can get around that too, right? Like getting a Visa card that has X amount of dollars, and once it's gone, it's gone.
Right, but but I have, but so that's just my plan.
Okay. Well, I was just curious if there were any limits and parameters to that, but there's not. It's just your willpower saying $50.
Right.
Okay. You know what? I believe in you.
Thank you. Saturday, hoping to hook up with some friends at one of the casino pools. Mm-hmm. If not, I am going to buy a 72-hour pass on the monorail.
Awesome.
And
monorail.
I'm going to take advantage of that said monorail.
I feel like you're at Disney World.
Yeah. And well, it hits like 4 or 5 casinos that I have a club card for. So. And then I'm thinking maybe Saturday night going to the Vegas Moose. That's
right. There's one out there.
It's a shithole, but I want to go.
Sometimes the best places.
And so
hopefully there are no entitled people there.
No,
You told me you've been dealing with a lot of entitled folks at the local Moose that you work at.
Sunday, I don't know. I'm kind of playing it by ear in regards to who gets a hold of me or who I can get a hold of to hang out.
So that's kind of open.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Monday morning, I'm going to go to said bowling alley and watch a full block of bowling as a spectator. So I'm going to be able to walk around, know where everything is at, like where I need to go for.
So not necessarily for enjoyment, just for informational reasons, to get experience at that lane and kind of understand the layout of things.
More about the layout and just to so when I go Tuesday, I am not overwhelmed. You know what I mean? Like I get overwhelmed when there's places I've never been before, mostly with a lot of people. I get very overwhelmed.
Sure.
And so to me, I get to see some other bowlers, maybe see a couple famous bowlers even,
Yeah, it could be.
And
well, what's that lady you like with the short hair?
Oh yeah.
Natalia Bonatova. Is that her name?
No.
Vlaslana Buvleklia?
Yeah. No.
Is she going to be there?
I don't know. It doesn't say who's going to be there, but like,
I hope she's there for you.
I don't think she is because the women's tour is kind of going right now. So
I hope that she's there for you.
No. I hope her fucking boyfriend isn't there.
He's got a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Man, you should have had me come out there. I'd be your wingman. I'd kill him. I'd stick his head in the ball, return.
Yeah. So Tuesday, Wednesday, bowling. Wednesday night, I plan on splurging and having an expensive steak dinner, whether it's with a group of the bowlers or not.
Is there a place that you found that you like? Oh, this is the spot.
Each casino has a steakhouse. You know what I mean? So
wow.
And so then I'm assuming Thursday is going to be a lot of packing up everything. Maybe one or two little excursions.
Yeah.
But definitely packing because I have to be at the airport Friday morning at 5:30 a.m. their time.
Okay.
So
very exciting, man. And nowhere in there you said you're going to see a show.
Oh no, yeah. I plan on seeing a topless burlesque show at Harrah's.
You don't want to see like a big name while you're out there? I think you should totally go see like a Cirque du Soleil, or we had mentioned Rod Stewart recently.
Well, but I looked at the tickets for some of that stuff, and
what's a Rod Stewart ticket go for?
They start out like the crap seats start out like $100.
Oh, you got to do it. You got to do it.
I don't know. I might maybe
this. I think I had seats for like $120 a seat, and you know what? It seems like a lot. But this is an experience. You got to get out there and do it, man.
I would think that would be super weird. Me going by myself to see Rod Stewart. I feel.
Do you want to see just in general? Do you want to see Rod Stewart?
I think that. I mean, of the things out there, maybe yeah. I don't know. And a lot of them still haven't started up their stuff already.
Okay, well, for those who have, and if you see one that you like. Throw it out the window. Don't say, hey,
no,
you know
I think
what?
I looked at Rod Stewart and he's not playing right now.
Well, I mean, if there's an act that you do want to see, don't let going to see it by yourself deter you, because who knows when the next opportunity. One of them might be mauled by a tiger tomorrow and never perform again.
Right, that's true.
So I think seriously, if there's something you want to see, do it. If someone wants to go with you, great. If not, do it by yourself. You'll be glad that you did.
I'm missing Tom Segura's by like 3 weeks. That one I would definitely.
I got mixed feelings on him.
Oh no, I would definitely go see
I like him all right, but sometimes I've been noticing a lot of comics lately. They sound real cocky when they're talking, and I think there's definitely a line when in comedy between confidence, because it's good to have confidence. It's good to be on the stage and have command of the audience, but it's something a little bit different to be cocky. And I think Tom Segura almost a little too cocky for my like. I like him. He's funny.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just comes off a little too cocky with his deliverance.
I just like when he says, "I tell you what." I love that.
He's got some funny stuff.
That bit is, "I tell you what."
Yeah,
I do it at work all the time.
Or just yelling out the word bicycle. That's another one of his bits.
No, he's good. But I think I got myself under control. I've got an email to send out to some people with the links to watch my live scoring. You can't watch the video, but live scoring. I'm trying to be very humble about it, not being like, hey, watch me, bowl like shit. But it's
not that. People want to support you. Your friends and family love you, and we want to support you. I'm excited for you. I believe in you.
Thank you.
I think you're going to do great out there. I think you're going to have a lot of fun, and I think that anything that you were worried about, you have the willpower to squash those demons.
Sure, and I also have a handful of people that I can call if maybe I don't have my
prostitutes.
No, friends that I can call maybe just for like a 5-minute talk me off the ledge kind of thing.
Okay, am I on that list?
Yeah.
Thank God.
You want me to take you off of it?
No, I'm not joking. And I say this to everyone that I really love is it doesn't matter what time. It doesn't matter what time. Seriously, middle of the night, give me a call. I'm not joking. If you feel like you're in a shit spot in the middle of the night, I'm not joking. Call me in the middle of the night.
I appreciate it.
Do you believe me?
No, I do believe you.
Would you do it?
Yes, I would call you first probably.
Call me in the middle of the night. I mean it. I want that call because I love you and I believe in you and I'm very excited. I know this has been a long time coming and I'm very excited.
2 years. I've never looked forward to anything else for 2 years.
I see you like every other week. What?
No, look forward to something for 2 years. Build up. That's what I meant.
Okay.
I only have to wait 13 days to see you.
That's fair. All right. Well, today we discussed the pilot episode of Blondie from the year of our Lord 1954. Now that was a great year, if you ask me.
The 50s, the roaring 50s.
Remember when water fountains were separate? We talked about that recently.
Was it still then too?
Oh God, yes.
Really?
It's not like my mom, I think, was alive during that time.
Really?
She probably doesn't remember it. Your mom probably too, right? Like,
yeah. My mom's a lot younger than your mom.
How? Yeah. Your mom was...
No, I'm just saying she had kids a lot younger than...
But you're older, so they're about the same age. What was my mom? I think was born in like 59, 58, 59. Yeah. They're probably about the same age.
Right.
But they were alive. I think the civil rights movement with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I don't know what happened to Senior, but Junior was...
Nobody ever talks about Senior.
Got to talk about that Senior.
If it wasn't for Senior, there would be no Junior.
Correct. We got to go way back in the Wayback Machine. But that's early, mid-60s.
Sure. I was negative 21.
And I was negative 27 in that time frame.
So I could negatively drink legally.
Oh, I never thought of it like that. Wow.
You could too.
I guess I was negatively old enough to drink.
Right.
Blondie. I'm saying Blondie here, and this is one that I've known of. This pilot, I've known about this pilot for a long time. Blondie is a popular piece of Americana.
Yeah, cartoon strip, right?
Created by Chick Young in like the 1930s.
Okay.
There's Blondie like movies. I'm doing quotes because they were like, I don't know, 40 to 60 minutes. I think a feature film these days has to be like 85, 87 minutes long to be considered a feature film.
There was a great band about this cartoon.
Oh, God. Debbie Harry all day, every day, if you ask me. I have fucked up twice. I'll tell you a dirty story about it. So I was dating this lady, and she's like, hey, you know who's playing down at the State Fair? Blondie and Cheap Trick. We should go see them. I said, oh, that'd be great. I'd love to go see them. So we go down there. And we get to the parking lot, and we said, we could go in right now and see the band, or we could have sex in the car. So we had sex in the car.
And you missed Blondie.
And I think I missed Blondie. And I was like, fuck. I genuinely liked Blondie.
Yeah, you should have missed Cheap Trick. You should have watched Blondie, then went and fucked in the car.
Here's the thing. We didn't see Cheap Trick either because we got there, and it started pouring rain, and it was outside on that like horse track area.
Yeah.
So we went down there for nothing, except a little
State Fair fucking.
Yeah, fair funkin', that's right. And then a couple years ago, Blondie was up at Riot Fest, and I've been going to Riot Fest the past few years. And I think I didn't stay the day that she was there, Blondie. And like fucking Debbie Harry's like 72,
right, and still rocking it. I think she still looks good. Like Joan Jett does not look good anymore. Like
I don't know, she's like punk and rad enough to like.
But she's still rad. But I mean, look why you look at her and you go, okay, she's somewhere. I watched the whole concert with Miley Cyrus before the Super Bowl.
Joan Jett was there?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm really on a big Miley Cyrus kick. We'll talk about this some other time. But
I've seen Joan Jett once.
Oh, yeah.
And it was awesome.
Sure. She still rocks it out for sure.
And I'm one of those idiots who I'm in the crowd. I'm like trying to make eyes at her. And she's like, and if she ever made eyes at me, she'd be like, oh, you're not a lady. Right. I think she's a gay lady.
Yeah, I think so too.
But she's awesome. Joan Jett's awesome. Debbie Harry is awesome. I'd love to see it. But Blondie, the cartoon, created way back in the 30s. There's been, like, I think 20, 30, like, again, quote-unquote movies made about it. There was a successful TV show or two, but this is the failed pilot from 1954.
Gotcha.
Did you ever grow up watching or, like, reading the Blondie Dagwood comics?
I think I knew of them, obviously. You know, like, I did look at the comic strips when I was a kid, and stuff. So, yeah, I don't remember any of them specifically, but I remember Dagwood was, like, the big flubber upper, like he did stuff wrong all the time, and
he was the boner.
Yeah. So
now in those comics, they had the eyes with no pupils, right?
Sure.
Now I was hoping that the TV show would do the same thing.
Didn't it? Did
it did not do it.
Spoiler alert.
That'd be freaky as taking a wig off in front of you, isn't it? Having blank eyes.
How you know if they're looking at you?
That's exactly right. Let's go back to 1954 in our minds, and we do that so we can properly understand in our minds the year in which Blondie was created, so we can judge it appropriately.
Right. You can't judge a pilot from 1954 based on today's standards in 2021. I mean, back then there wasn't a steel shortage. Back then there wasn't
steel for days back then.
Now kids, adults even, wear their pants almost falling off. And back then they wore suits everywhere they went.
Yeah, the pants back then, they'd pull them all the way up so they would just kiss the bottom of their nipples.
Yep. And so, we also, we didn't have nuclear war.
Oh my God!
Back then,
yeah. And since then, we've learned to duck and cover.
Right, and get underneath our desk for a nuclear bomb.
That'll save us. That's literally I don't know what the desks are made out of in grade schools, but I wish my whole house was made out of it because it'll protect you in a nuclear event.
Right. Well, I think what they did, was like, we want to clean up all these dead bodies very easily. Yeah. So instead of random just kids running amok. And finding them in the playground. In the playground.
One over there.
No, you go into a classroom, there's 28 desks, there's 28 bodies, let's get them. And also there was no Band-Aids in back then.
No Band-Aids. Real quick to your point on the nuclear holocaust, too, is if that were to happen and you had survived somehow by being under your desk, I mean, you're dead by radiation poison in 72 hours, maybe?
Sure.
You don't want to live through that.
Right. Or you're going to have to start, killing wild animals just to eat food, but that's already contaminated too.
Oh yeah,
everything's going to be contaminated.
Everything will be just radiation, and you'll turn into some sort of
mutant,
David Cronenberg-esque body horror monster.
Yeah. So I would rather just die when everybody else does.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
You ever see Terminator 2?
No.
Okay. There's a scene where Sarah Connor, the protagonist, she's in her dream. She's having nightmares of a nuclear holocaust, and you see human beings kind of just burning alive and just like a black skeleton left. That would be us.
Sure.
And that would be me under a desk.
Right. That's why you got that at the estate sale. You bought that desk. And that's why it's in the corner of your living room. Because you're a doomsday.
I'm ready.
You're a doomsday prepper. So.
I priced out what it would be to do a panic room bunker in my backyard. Oh, very expensive. Very expensive. I said, I'll just buy this 1950s desk and hope for the best.
Yep. Sounds good. Good plan.
So we'll talk about things that happened in 1954. June 7th, British cryptonologist, mathematician, and computer scientist Alan Turing, age 41, commits suicide by cyanide poisoning via apple a la Snow White.
So he obviously had information and they were about to grab him. So
I don't know, maybe so.
It was like a spy thing,
Have you heard the name Alan Turing before?
No.
He was. Oh, they made a movie about him a few years ago. I can't remember what it was called.
I remember it. Yeah.
So he was a highly influential developer in the theoretical computer science, providing a formalization of the concepts of algorithm and computation with the Turing machine that he created, which can be considered a model of the general purpose computer. And Turing is widely considered the father of theoretical computer science and artificial intelligence. So this man was so in tune with machines. I'm sure he had some form of autism, and I think he was a gay guy. In 1954,
no, you can't be.
Not cool to be a gay guy.
Not cool. Right, and that's another thing. You can't judge this pilot based on the fact that now it's fine to be gay.
That's exactly right.
Back in the 50s, it was not fine to be gay.
That's a great point. So he had a lot of things working against him.
Sure.
Crazy intelligence, homosexuality.
And he was probably mixed up with, there was some KGB or some CIA stuff, and he, instead of, having to do something for them or something, they were going to kill him anyway. So just cyanide.
He did love the fairy tale Snow White. He really did, and so I think he did die by eating an apple like Snow White, but he had contaminated.
Well, she didn't die that way. She just fell asleep.
And maybe he was just hoping a prince would kiss him. June 14th, the words "under God" are added to the United States Pledge of Allegiance,
which nobody ever says anymore. We do it at the Moose meetings, but
you don't say "under God."
No, I mean we say the pledge. Nobody says a pledge anymore.
Okay. I remember starting every day at school.
Yeah, but I'm just
saying. The school still do that?
I know. I don't think they do it anymore.
Morning announcements. Principal comes on. Hey, here's what's happening.
Ding dong.
Bing bong ding. And then this student, we're in grade school, this student's birthday is today. Oh, wonderful. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep.
I can't remember the last time I did the Pledge of Allegiance. You go to a ball game and they do the national anthem.
We do the Pledge of Allegiance at Legion meetings.
Is that the regional meetings that you do for the Moose?
Well, no. There's Moose and then there's Legionnaires. That's like the next level up.
Oh, like the disease in the hot
No.
tub. Legionnaires' disease.
No. It's a higher group.
To me, if you're pledging allegiance to a country, specifically the United States, and they say there's a separation between church and state. Why would you put under God in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Anyway, June 22nd, Sarah Mae Fleming is expelled from a bus in South Carolina for sitting in a whites-only section 18 months before Rosa Parks.
Harriet Tubman. Oh.
Harriet Tubman was the Underground Railroad.
Rosa Parks.
And the name of my toad at home, Harriet Toadman.
Yeah. So she didn't get the credit that she deserved, huh?
She was kicked out, yeah.
Oh.
I guess that.
Yeah. So maybe she just would have, wouldn't have. Maybe she just didn't fight it long enough.
Yeah, maybe she didn't.
Come on, ma'am. Get off.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Okay, fine. Whereas Rosa Parks just said, no, bitches.
Wasn't the white section the front of the bus?
Yeah.
See, black people always lead the way in what's cool, right? So when I was in school, sit in the back of the bus was cool.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah,
because you got to strut to the back, and then you got to strut all the way to the front to get on.
You can say hi to all the pretty ladies on the way back.
High five it, yeah.
Oh,
I'll do it.
Okay.
I thought you were calling me a pretty lady.
No, you just said high five it. I just
high five
that.
There we go. Back in sync. Yeah, black people said we'll create rock and roll music a la Chuck Berry, and then it'll be the coolest thing white people ever do for the next 45 years. And they were everything the black folks do. It turns out to be the cool thing that white people do next.
Sure, like Crank and
Crank 2, High Voltage, starring Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Remember when Jason Statham was black in the first Crank? I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm back in 1954.
For sure.
Blake, why did we choose to watch Blondie?
3 simple criteria. A, it was a pilot that failed, never went to series, whether air or not was irrelevant.
Awesome!
Thank you, Miz. I miss you, buddy. Number 2, we had to find it on the interwebs.
Woo!
Thank you, Ric Flair. Miss you, buddy. And 3, it had to be free, baby. Thank you, Bell. I miss you.
You miss all those guys.
Yeah, I missed the Bell. Missed the bus a couple times.
You missed the bus, crisscross style?
Yeah.
How about Saved by the Bell?
Ooh.
You're probably asking yourself, where can I find the entire episode of the 1954 pilot for Blondie? We could do so by subscribing to Couch Pilots and SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube. Blake.
You know what to do, too.
Bing bong.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff.
Bing bong. Bitcoin. Kebcoin.
Kebcoin?
You listen to the Sixer podcast?
Not very often.
Yeah. He's sometimes Kevin has guest hosts. You and I are guest hosts recently.
Sure.
And then he had some other guys who created the term Kebcoin, like a fungible, a non-fungible. I don't know what that means exactly.
A doctor gave me some cream for my fungible.
Is it clearing up?
Yeah, it clears up pretty good.
I actually have a story real quick because I know you've long had problems with your back, and recently it's gotten better because of some cortisone shots to your discs. But I think I always cut my nails real short. My big toe is infected.
Sure.
And it hurts.
Oh, I bet. No, that's bad. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. I had a really close friend who was diabetic, and he cut his toenails too close one time. And he ended up having to go to the hospital. They had to amputate his foot. They did it wrong, and so they had to amputate half his leg. And
Jesus.
He was in a wheelchair, got out, and in less than a year, depression set in. Because there's a guy who can't get around anymore.
Killed himself?
Killed himself.
Good God, man.
Really good guy.
Well, I guess I'll just let my toenails grow out from here on out.
Right.
Gee. I'll be one of those guys on Ripley's Believe It or Not where they just curl at the end.
A lot of times, Molly, I know it's time to trim them because Molly goes, "Hey, Edward Scissor Feet." Sorry.
It's a good reference for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's red and swollen and sausage-like in nature, where it feels like it's thick.
Sure.
But I soaked it a couple times yesterday, and I woke up today and it's got like a white part in it, which means it's ready to the pus to come out. So that's a good sign, I think.
Yeah,
but I'm on the road to recovery.
But I'd be careful. You stay on it though, because if it gets any worse, you do need to go to prompt care. Seriously, because you'll end up losing a foot.
I don't want to lose the foot. I'm really attached to this one. You know what I'm saying?
Hey-o.
Pretty funny. All right. Today we're talking about Blondie and a summary of the pilot. Here we go. It's Mr. Dithers wants Dagwood to buy an antique pistol because Mrs. Dithers will get mad at her husband if her husband spends any more on collectibles.
I give it a B. I mean, it's that's the sole focus of the whole show.
Dither-centric.
Yeah, it's very Dithers-esque.
Very dithery. Very interesting factly, I would say.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Interesting Facts. This is a part of the show where Jason has scoured the internet to find out about facts of this pilot that you probably don't know. All we ask is that you please don't taint someone else's experience by giving your opinion of those facts. They're facts. Nothing you can say can change it. So don't ruin it for somebody else.
Thank you for that, Blake.
No problem. Thank you. It's the least I can do. Seriously, it's literally the least I can do, and that's what I do.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. It's one more thing off my plate. Interesting facts. This failed pilot for Chick's Young Blondie was made in 1954, would get a second life in 1957 for 26 episodes, both starring Pamela Britton as Blondie. Boy, she was a babe.
She was good looking.
As a matter of fact, she and Stuffy Singer, who played her son Alexander, were the only actors to reprise their roles in 1957. You may recognize Pamela from the show My Favorite Martian. Fact.
Because Dagwood was played by somebody else in the series.
And we're going to get to that,
Okay.
and you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. The name of this pilot was One Gun Bumstead. Fact.
Kind of a dumb name for a pilot show. But.
Yeah, maybe so. Also stars Hal Leroy as Dagwood opposite Pamela Britton's Blondie in his final acting role. He would live for another 30-plus years, but no longer acted. Fact.
Oh.
Arthur Lake would take on the role of Dagwood in the 1957 Blondie series, but had already played Dagwood in 28 movies since 1938. He was not in the 1954 pilot version of Blondie because he was busy playing Dagwood in his own version of Blondie in the Couch Pilots classics Meet the Family.
Ah.
You remember that one?
Yes.
It's where they mistakenly bought surfboards. You remember they were out on the ocean surfing, and they had a camera on the board, and we were talking about how that was a cool time, and they ended up making the surfboards into coffee tables.
Right.
Because back then the surfboards were wood.
He bought all those. Thinking, wasn't he trying to? He was going to sell them.
He was trying to buy surf balls.
Yeah,
which I've never heard of.
Because he worked at a
balls.
sporting goods store.
Yeah, and
he was in purchasing.
That's exactly right. So you remember. So that there you go. Arthur Lake was the previous Dagwood. Also stars Joseph Kearns as Mr. Miller. You may recognize him as. Do you remember Mr. Miller and what he played?
No.
Do you remember Mr. Miller though, the guy at the store who's
Yeah.
selling him?
No. Yeah. I like Mr. Miller. He reminded me a lot of my grandfather.
You don't remember what he was from though?
No. I just remember he looked familiar, but I couldn't.
You may remember him as the original Mr. Wilson on Dennis the Menace or Dentist the Mentalist, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Wilson.
And Joseph Kearns died while Dennis the Menace was on air. Did you know that?
Uh-uh.
Like they didn't catch it and put it in the show though. When he died,
dang.
But he died while they were making it, and he was replaced by a Mr. Wilson's brother.
Ah.
Also another Mr. Wilson. Mainly so that.
So Mr. Wilson's brother started fucking his wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now that they did show.
Yeah.
Big time.
Hell yeah.
The 1957 series was released in its entirety on September 25th, 2018 by Classic Flicks, a home video label with a focus on restoring pre-1960 films and media and of interesting facts.
Great job. I like those.
Thank you. Twitter responses.
Twitter responses. I wonder if Jason got some Twitter responses.
No, clearly every last one of these people are dead.
There you go.
And that's fine. Let's go and put 10 minutes on the clock, and we will talk about the entirety of the 1954 Blondie pilot. Would you like to start us off?
Starting us off by, it's the typical 50s family. The wife is in a beautiful dress. She's a homemaker. She didn't have a job.
She's a babe.
And she's a super smoke show. Got them pointy bras thing going on a little bit.
Yeah. She's voguing.
And then the son and the daughter are all at the door, and they have 100 puppies. I didn't understand how they got all these puppies to line up, but I couldn't.
They got a lot of puppies here.
Got a lot.
Yeah.
This pilot has a lot of puppies.
Remember when Jerry Lawler would call boobs puppies in the Attitude Era of WWF?
Yep. And so they're all waiting because Dagwood's got to leave for work. Fumble down the stairs. Zooms out to the door. Runs over the mailman.
Knocks right into him. Letters go flying. And then that's like the intro. And then it said sponsor message. So we're seeing 20, 25 seconds and then boom. Blondie and the kids then help the mailman kind of gather up all the parcels and letters that were spilled. And it's discovered that today is Dagwood's birthday. And they're like, what are we going to get him?
And it seemed like it was all one of those, This should have been talked about before the day of.
They kind of discovered it in one of the letters that was spilled.
Right,
Like
I was
someone
like,
had sent them a birthday card.
The wife should have had her shit. This is also when we find out that the daughter has some kind of speech impairment, and you can only understand about every third word she says.
She's adorable, right?
She's adorable, but I can't understand a word she says.
They got a cute kid, and you're right. I think obviously it might have looked exactly how it looked when it was on air, but the video and audio quality of this particular version is not great. No. So that doesn't help out the daughter, whose name I did not get. But again, the son's name was Alexander.
So they are like, she's like, oh, what do you want to get your dad and everything? And each of the kids go through something that they want,
including the wife. She said like a mobile
dishwasher or laundry.
I thought it was a sewing machine, like a mobile sewing machine or something.
So then they decide, because the wife has nothing to do all day, and I guess it's summertime, so they go shopping, and of course she's got a different dress on, and the kids have dressed up. The boy is in a little tie and everything.
You want to leave the house
to go shopping?
You want to go downtown? You better put on something nice.
Downtown.
You should be wearing something nice.
Downtown.
Put on your Sunday best.
Pound Town.
They are, next scene we see J.C. Dithers, the president of some company, I don't know what it is. Dagwood rushes into the office, and Mr. Dithers is not happy with Dagwood.
Because he was on time?
Yeah. I think it is maybe the saying where if you're early, you're on time, and if you're on time, you're late.
Right.
Maybe that's the old saying. And then anyway, Dithers says, I like antique guns, and Dagwood, my wife, will not allow me to spend any more money on these collectible antique guns, so I need you to purchase it for me.
Workaround.
And give it to me as a gift so my wife doesn't get mad, and I'll have you purchase it and present it to me.
Sure. Yeah. And so they come up with the... they didn't really come up with a dollar amount. That dollar amount didn't come up until he went to the store.
But Dagwood was like, hey, if I go down there and talk to Mr. Miller, I might be able to haggle with him.
Yeah. Oh, it was $50, and he was going to try to haggle because Mr. Diller said he could keep whatever
5% of whatever saved. Dagwood could carry, which is potentially
$1,
75 cents. Yeah, $1 maybe, which was I guess a big deal back then. Buy yourself lunch.
Right. So he goes down to the hardware, the sporting goods store, and this would have been more of a biggie thing. Like, he would have gone down there and he would have Jewed with this guy for a while.
I don't know if you should say that, but yeah, Scott, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Scott. Scott loves to haggle. Scott is smart, maybe perhaps overly smart with his money.
Sure.
This is a total Scott situation.
Right. So, and what it is, it's a Derringer. So it's this little itty bitty hand pistol. If you think about the girls, like in the saloons. The Old West, they would have one of these in their garter belt.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just this little itty bitty.
It might have been what John Wilkes Booth used to blow the head off of Abraham Lincoln.
Something like that. And so, and I will say, for those of you that are pro-gun safety, do not watch this pilot. These people are tossing this thing around.
They are wiling out.
Giving it to children and handing it, just kind of tossing it to people. I don't know. That was very unsettling. But
before he goes down there, I do want to mention that he's saying, Dithers is saying to Dagwood, this, whatever we're doing, whatever we're cooking up, you can't tell anyone. This is between you and me, and I want you to swear on the Order of the Caribou Lodge. And I thought of you instantly because you're a member of the Moose Lodge, obviously. And they're a member of, I don't know if the Caribou Lodge is a real thing or if it's just kind of one of those fake made-for-TV alternatives to something that is real. But
I've heard of the elks, but I've heard of the eagles, but I've never heard of the cantaloupe.
So they, Blondie and the kids head downtown to get the present, and they see Dagwood coming, so they hide into the store. It happens to be the store that he's going into, so they're kind of like spying on Dagwood and hearing what he's saying.
Right, because they're trying to figure out what he wants for his birthday, and so he's acting, because he's talking to the guy about this gun. He's like, I really, really need it. I really, really want it. And so while they're listening,
he never says, I need it for my boss. It sounds like he wants it for himself, and that's what his family's hearing.
And you would think if it was his family, he's never owned a gun. He's the klutziest person you know.
Yeah,
you would say, I know he wants this, but it's just not a good idea.
Maybe you give him a nice Louisville Slugger or something. You don't give him, as far as home protection goes, you can't have a gun.
Yeah.
So Mr. Miller, he's like, you know what? For you, I'll do $50 out the door. That's including tax. And Dagwood says, I'm going to leave right now, but I'm going to come back, and hopefully you think about this some more and able to offer me a better price. And so then the family comes in right after he leaves, and they're like, you know what? Dagwood wants it. Mr. Miller, what are you going to sell this for? He's like, I'll sell it to you for $65. Because all of a sudden, in Mr. Miller's mind, the demand for this has gone up.
Yeah.
So he's going to raise the price like some fucking asshole.
Right. And so she puts a $20 deposit on it.
Kind of like maybe she wants a better view at the hotel, huh?
Right.
So, yeah, she gives him $20 and said, here's a deposit. I'll be back with the rest of the money. Dagwood comes back and is ready to pay the $50, but Mr. Miller tells him that it's now what price?
75?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mr. Miller's a real son of a bitch.
Hey, he's just trying to make a living, man.
Well, Dag gives him a deposit and says he'll be back. So the family is unknowingly bidding against each other back and forth.
And this goes on for quite a while. And then, there is discussions. He goes back and talks to his boss each time, basically. You know what I mean? And
goes up to $90.
Yeah. And it just keeps going
goes
for a
up to
while.
$110.
So finally, the wife gets it.
Well, she sends the kids out to try to raise some money. By selling some of the dogs, by getting advances on the newspaper route, and they all try to pitch to this one neighbor, and she's like, "Your dad
is a piece
wants
of shit.
this gun. He's sending you out to do this," and the kids are like, "We're just trying to make money." So she's thinking, Dagwood's a real asshole.
Sure, and then Dagwood comes to the door, and he's unbeknownst to this is going on.
He has no idea.
Yeah,
but he's coming there for money too.
Right. Oh yeah, he's coming there for money too.
Yeah, and so the neighbor really gives him she's like, you're a real asshole. Why are you sending these kids? And Dagwood's like, maybe I am a jerk. Maybe I am a loser and a bum. I don't know. But he doesn't know what she's talking about, and she doesn't know what he's talking about. And then, there's so much confusion.
Yeah, and then doesn't she go over and talk to Blondie in the kitchen?
And she kind of clears it up a little bit as far as what she understands the situation is. And so the neighbor's like, oh, so maybe Dagwood's not maybe I understood. Yeah. But no one at this point has the whole story.
No.
Anyway, let's see. And at one point, Dag is addressing the camera directly, too, when he's outside the neighbor's house. He looks right at the camera and starts saying some stuff. But, the neighbor comes over. They kind of clear the air. And then the neighbor says, you know what? The Women's League is having a meeting tonight.
Yeah.
And we will harass Mr. Miller about his shitty business practices, and we'll make sure you get this pistol and you get it at a good price.
Yeah, it was like the first shakedown. It was like, pre-mob shakedown.
And they do mention Better Business Bureau here.
Right.
But I don't think that's the method or the means they went through. They went through this women's league.
No, this women's league that they buy a lot of stuff from this guy. These women buy a lot of stuff from this guy, and they're like they're shaking him down. Basically,
they call him and harass him.
Yeah.
His phone's ringing off the hook, and he's like, you know what? I'm bothered by so many calls. He says, Blondie, you can have the gun. Yeah. And I don't think we ever come to a price on what exactly she paid.
I thought it was he was like, I'll just give it to her for free.
It sounded like that,
but I'm not sure. But it did sound. At one point he said something to that effect. So that night, Dagwood comes home. And
after being practically beat to death by his boss, who is devastated he does not get this gun.
Right. And they have a cake for him and everything, and he goes to open up the, and he's disheveled because he doesn't have this gun. He doesn't, he didn't get it.
He just ate shit from his boss all day trying to get this thing. So he's beaten down. His family, they see him, and he's happy to see him. And he's like, man, I'm such a bum. I'm so sorry. I just feel like I'm not doing a great job to provide for you. And they're like, we love you. We know you're a boner sometimes,
right?
But we love you. Here's a present. And he's like, oh my God, this is great. Thank you so much for a present. He opens it up, and what is it?
It's the Derringer.
And he faints.
Oh yeah.
He's like, this thing has been plaguing me all day, and now it's in front of my face.
Right. What is this? Some kind of voodoo weird shit? So I guess when he faints, the doesn't the Derringer then go on one of the plates? And then Mr. Druthers comes.
Well, Mr. Dithers knocks on the door. They find out it's him, and Dagwood grabs the gun
and hands it to his son, who should not have a gun in his hand.
I think he handed it to the daughter. I think he handed it to the little girl who like, the son is probably like
7, 8.
Oh, 7, 8 maybe. The little girl's probably like 7, I thought, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Hands it to the child, the little girl. And so he's like, get rid of this because I got to take care of Mr. Dithers.
And so they hide it and they put like mashed potatoes and gravy and stuff over the top of it.
They put it on the lamb chop plate. Mr. Dithers comes in for dinner after yelling at Dagwood, and the wife, Blondie, kind of calms things down, says, come and have dinner. He says, okay. So it's on the plate. And remember when lamb chops each had those little chef hats on the end of them?
Right.
So the gun is in the plate of lamb chops. Mr. Dithers gets the gun as the lamb chop, and then everyone's so scared that he's going to see what it is, they start throwing food on top of it to cover it up, including gravy and mashed potatoes and stuff.
And then knock on the door. Mr. Druthers' wife shows up.
Yes.
How did she know he was there?
I have no idea. He said she was out on the town that night, but she shows up at their house. And
She must have had GPS on his phone.
probably that's probably what happened. She arrives, and then she seems like Mr. Dithers answers to Mrs.
Oh, yeah.
Dithers.
That's why he's such an asshole at work. You
gotta take it out on them.
Yeah, he has to have power somewhere.
He's got no control at home.
Right.
So she shows up, and she's nice enough to give Dagwood a present, right?
Right.
And then Dag then comes out and says, "Well, here's a pistol here for Mr. Dithers." And Mrs. Dithers is like, "Are you spending more money?" And Dag was like, "No, this is a present for me." And he was so pleased that I got him this collectible that he's given me a raise.
Yep.
As dumb as you think Dagwood is, this is a stroke of genius.
Oh, for sure.
To really put him on the spot in front of his wife.
Sure.
And Mr. Dithers is just biting through his tongue saying, "That's exactly right, Dagwood.
Yep.
I love the gift, and you have a raise." You know?
Then you're going to die.
I'll strangle you to death at work. And then they're like, "All right, well, why don't you come and join us for dinner, Mrs. Dithers?" They all go in the other room. They find out they have 100 fucking dogs for some reason,
yeah.
and they're all eating the cake. You get a sponsor's message, and then finally, Dad gets a washing machine for his birthday, and he's not thrilled.
Yeah.
And that's it, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. I don't know.
Bing bong.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
At this point, Blondie had been around for 16 years as far as creating movies or some sort of,
Sure.
of visual and audio content that people can ingest. And this may have been the first time they tried a TV show. Why didn't this work? If they literally made 20, 25 movies up to that point,
Right.
why did this TV show work?
I think, to be honest with you, like, I'm putting myself back in the 1950s. Again,
Right.
we've talked about this before. The start of television, they were throwing anything to see what's thick.
This is a few years into TV.
Yeah, and this is not horrible. I mean, the acting was good. I thought the story was a typical, this is
It's like a completely self-contained,
Yeah.
fun, lighthearted story. Besides giving a gun to a child.
yeah. I'm going to say that obviously the other Dagwood has already been in a bunch of stuff and played Dagwood. Is it possible that this didn't go anywhere because everybody already knew the other guy is Dagwood, and he was better at it. He had the physical comedy and the goofy looking.
I want to say there was a time in that episode where he fell down the stairs.
Oh yeah. But I mean,
on Meet the Family, I think Dagwood fell down
Sure,
a full
yeah.
flight of stairs.
yeah, no, and but I really think that maybe they were like, hey, everybody already knows this other guy is
Yeah.
Dagwood. And he was better at it. He just had that goofy looking doingy face. You know what I mean? Like, there's
So you remember that? Meet
yeah,
the Family?
no, but I also remember that guy. I remember his voice was higher pitched
Okay.
and his ears stuck out a little bit more, and he looked. It was one of those things. It's kind of like King of Queens. The husband could never have that hot of a wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Leah Remini, when she was young and fit,
and before she was into Scientology, no,
she's out now, baby.
Okay. Oh,
she's,
well, yeah,
she's,
all
make-
right.
she's making money out. But yeah, she was a babe. And Kevin James,
So-
lovable oaf.
right. But this is this is Kevin. This is the lovable, not so clumsy, klutzy, never can do anything right kind of guy.
Yeah.
Which we see that a lot too. So really, to me, that's the only thing I could really see why it wouldn't.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great note. And I think that's probably pretty damn accurate.
Thank you.
And they had made. Oh, you're welcome. I honor you and I respect you. I think there was a time where they had made another Blondie pilot that didn't go forward, and I don't know who the star is of that one. Maybe we'll cover that someday as well. But if you're thinking about Blondie in the movie screen on TV, and it's been one guy forever, and then they said we're going to replace that guy, that's going to be jarring. And honestly, it could be one of the first examples in television history of that happening.
Right. Try to change out Michael J. Fox on Family Ties.
No,
you can't.
Who are you going to replace him with? Michael Cera? He wasn't even born yet. That's a stupid example. Why would you say that?
I don't know. I say stupid stuff. I'm not drinking. What do you expect?
You're right. To take a popular character out and replace them rarely works. It has on occasion. Sometimes they replace it with an all-new character. Sometimes they come in and they're supposed to be the same character. Like,
From Roseanne.
Roseanne, right? Sarah Chalk came in,
Right.
to be the new Becky.
Yeah, and
right.
There's no explanation. Just that's what we had to do it. Contracting.
They did some meta kind of jokes in the show, but they're basically just like, deal with it. A more modern example, Iron Man 2 with Robert Downey Jr. comes out. They replace, I always forget this guy's name, but Don Cheadle replaces the guy who played Colonel Rhodes from the first one, who would go on to be War Machine. That was a big deal for a world-building series of films like the MCU. But they make a joke about it for a half second. It's like, hey, I'm here now, deal with it. They're joking with the audience that we know, that we replace this character.
You got to point it out. You got to somewhere or another. You got to point it out and just show your hand and say.
They didn't do that here, and there wasn't really a precedent probably set for doing that at the time. But I think that's a huge component of it. I think you really hit it on the head there. Is that this man who's so synonymous with this character is not this character; it's someone else. But honestly, I feel like the guy Hal, I think it was. I think he did a good job.
He did a good job. It's just it's just not the person I know.
I think there's something good about. It hasn't happened a lot. One of our earliest pilots we ever did was Modesty Blaze. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think we had Dustin. That was like a season 2 for us. But that was probably back in like 2016 we did that. But that was a comic, like a serious comic about like a female spy or something.
Right.
I think a positive about creating a series based off of content that previously exists is you got a bunch of fucking ideas ready to roll.
Sure, right.
So if it had survived, I think you're just ripping shit from the comics and turning them into half-hour programs.
Or just daily stuff that happens to families. This guy messes up unintentionally. This guy messes up everything he does.
Runs into mailman.
Right.
Falls
and
downstairs.
So you're going to have that, So.
You got to have some physical comedy. People want it. People love it. They want some more of it, right?
10-4, good buddy.
If you were trying to improve this, I don't know what else you'd really do here. I genuinely, I've kind of remember Arthur Lake's performance in Meet the Family, and I remember it being fine. But again, people were familiar with him as Dagwood. But I thought the performance in this was good. I thought overall this is a pretty good pilot.
A lot of times in the 50s, you see these, and there's always at least one or more person that's just a bad actor. That is the theater actor, that comes in to do television, and sometimes that doesn't work. Except that little girl's damn speech impediment.
That's your only gripe.
Yep.
It's a fair gripe.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
Could be argued, too, though, that speech impediments are adorable on children. This is, I pull a lot of information from IMDb, InternetMovieDatabase.com, and there's no reviews on there. It's not even rated. I think it's just kind of one of those things that
doesn't have any pictures. It just has a title. And
it's just obscure.
Yeah.
There's no critic reviews that I could find. There's no viewer reviews. And I'm not saying that there aren't reviews in general for Blondie, because obviously it's a big property, and I'm sure it's still worth a certain amount of money even today, almost 100 years later after its creation, from all the films and the TV show that did work. But for this specific pilot, I couldn't find any reviews.
Okay.
And from 1954, not a huge shock.
Right, yeah, the people that watched it are probably not on the internet.
And this could be one of those, again, to use the word precedent that you and I are setting.
Sure.
By talking about reviewing.
Get the ball rolling.
And ultimately rating it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated.
You ever 69 before?
Yeah. With the lady saying that, right?
Okay, I get what you're saying. You ever, let me ask you this. Do you ever 59?
No. Every time I've done it, the girls had 2 legs.
Well, okay, that brings up a funny point, because I had dated this handicap girl, and to do that, we had to buy a 69ing wheelchair to do that.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. They make
a special apparatus.
Oh yeah, there's an attachment on the back. It's basically for like the upper part of my legs.
Sure.
I am inverted.
It's like it has the straps of like an OBGYN, but it's up by her head.
Yes, that's exactly right. So you've seen them. Now it's time for us to rate Blondie. We use a scale 1 to 7. based on the popular program from the 90s.
Yeah.
I believe it was, affectionately and accurately known as Wings. Would you like to discuss the grading scale?
Sure, the grading scale is very simple. We took all of our favorite characters of that show and we ranked them, with the worst being number 1, which is a Roy Biggins, and all the way up to number 7, which is a Brian Hackett. That's the best you can do. In between there's Helen Chappell, Antonio Scarpacci, Fayetten, not Lowell Mathers, Bud Bronski.
Yes.
There you go.
There's one more.
Who did I forget? Oh, the other brother.
That's right. The other
Brian
the
Hackett.
brother.
No,
the brother from
Joe
another
Hackett.
mother.
Joe Hackett, right?
You got him.
I got them all. Yes.
Oh yeah, I usually don't allow Fayetten because it's Cochran, but we got to make an exception, right?
I've been doing Fayetten for years now. I gotta look her up on Facebook and ask her to come in and do a show. Oh, I have a guest too that wants to be on. I scheduled a guest.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Awesome. I love to have guests. Bring them in. I'm always scheduling the fucking guests. You bring some in here.
I'm just doing it once. I'm not.
Can you say who it is or not?
Huh?
Can you say who it is or not?
Terry from the movie.
Oh, Terry.
Yeah.
I met Terry. Yeah.
He wants to be on.
I would love to have him on. That's fantastic. Captain Philip, rest assured, we've given out all the information. We've talked about it in depth. I feel like we're very fair in the conversations we were having about Blondie. How do you rate Blondie?
I'm looking at this, and like I said, I mean, you kind of usually know about what our score is going to be, kind of, when we talk about why didn't this work.
Yeah.
We didn't spend a whole long time on it because basically I only found about one thing that was wrong. It was just that to me it was that actor. Not because it did a bad job, but just because it already had association. I didn't mind this. I didn't chuckle, really.
Yeah. It's supposed to be funny.
It's supposed to be funny. I didn't really chuckle out loud. I do not think so many children should have and wives should have just been tossed to guns.
A lot of gunplay.
We
love guns in America.
I'm going to give it a 6.
Wow,
I mean,
okay.
Kids, I can't take the score down. You know what I mean? Like everything I start to watch starts at a 7. You know what I mean? And
that's how you go into watching.
Uh-huh.
You go in there thinking, what I'm about to see is 100% perfect. Prove me wrong. And over the course of the show,
sure, it goes up and down, but this time I couldn't notch it too bad. I had to give it a 6.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about right there with you, buddy. Sometimes these older shows are tough to watch, and obviously, like we had mentioned, the audio and visual quality of this specific pilot is not great, but it went along pretty good. It was clever writing with the back and forth of the bidding of the people who were in the same family who didn't know they were doing it, and the Mr. Dithers was a grade A asshole, and I always liked. I was paid attention to this too. I love it when Dagwood is eating shit. He's got his hat. He's always wearing a hat. He's got it in his hands, and he's like circling it around like he's
the brim. Yeah,
like his tail's between his legs.
That's his nervous. Like I suck.
Just stuff like that. Yeah. I liked.
I get you.
And the style, the clothing. You're right. People dressed up to walk down Main Street, USA to go to
a baseball game. If they go to Wrigley Field, they would be wearing a suit.
Get your double-breasted suit out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a certain charm, obviously, in that time period. I think this show paid homage to the ideal version of
I also
Americana.
like that he didn't come home and drink a martini, sit and look at the paper.
That's another. Yeah, that's a good point too.
It wasn't. He didn't act like he was
king shit.
King shit.
I almost had to name King Kong King shit before copyright reasons. I don't know if you knew that.
No, yeah.
I want to give it a 5. I don't. I think I have to give it a 6 with you. This is pretty good for a black and white comedy from 70 years ago.
Right.
It's aged pretty well.
Sure, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, this is a good watch. Blondie was good. I understand the appeal. I honestly, I'm not super familiar with the comics. I definitely have not seen any of the movies or the 26 episode series that would happen a few later, starring Pamela Britton as well as Arthur Lake. But from my only experience, really, with Blondie, besides having the Dagwood sandwich in Universal Studios for $13,
okay, right?
This was pretty good.
And fucking a girl before a Blondie concert. That's really that's only 2 matches you have, really.
That's the only 2 experience points I have. I love Blondie. Oh God, I love it. It gets me hard just thinking about Blondie.
We should do a Blondie sixer.
I'm about it. Give me Atomic all day, every day. And with those scores of a 6 and a 6, we're in the hand-holding club. We will close the book on Blondie, and we will never speak of that show again.
Yeah.
But join us next time, won't you please, when we watch the pilot episode of What the Hell is Going On with Vic Berger. Here's a little something to whet your whistle. Video editor, family man, and all-around confused American Vic Berger sets out to figure out what the hell is going on with steel. You can find the entire episode of What the Hell is Going On with Vic Berger by subscribing to Couch Pilots and SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube, and you know what to do, tube.
Just get some punctuation. It would be so much easier on you.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it under advisement. There's different ways to contact the show, different ways to engage with us and listen to all of our episodes. Sure. Right? Do you know what those things are?
Sure. Let's start off with the dial-in number, which it works. We know it works.
Yeah.
But it's 910 Pilots 1.
Beep bop boop beep.
You'll have to figure out the numbers on that yourself. Or
Can I tell you?
Oh yeah.
It's 910-745-6871. Kevin Clark has committed that to memory years ago.
Oh, yeah, that's great. And so, give us a call. Let us know what you thought about a pilot or, something that happened on the show, or just tell us about what's going on in your life.
Yeah, tell us what you think about the recent venue change for CouchCon. We were going to be at Red Rocks, which might happen next year, but now we're going to the Superdome in Nolens. That's right.
And couchpilotspodcast.com, that's your one-stop shop. That's where you can get every single episode that we've ever done. You can go to our Instagram from there. You can email us from there. You can go to our Facebook page from there.
Tell me what I should do about my infected toe. Blake gave me some good ideas, but I want to hear if you got any home remedies.
Yeah. Tartar sauce, I think is a good one, too.
Tartar sauce. Mm-hmm. I think I have some. Okay.
Tartar sauce in a Ziploc bag.
What about Worcestershire sauce?
Oh no, it's too runny.
Worcestershire.
You want a little paste to it, so
something that can gunk up on it.
Yeah, the tartar would be.
I like a good gunk.
and subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, where all the places you get podcasts.
That's good. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
I want to mention, too, we brought up CouchCon there, and I have recently created a poster for CouchCon.
Yeah.
Or not CouchCon, no, I'm sorry, for episode 300. I'm
yeah.
sorry, that's a different subject altogether. But I created a poster for it. What do you think of that poster?
No, I love it. It's vintage. And we don't want to give it away, but it's real vintage looking. It's cool. It's like you would see at a marquee or an advertisement for those set place.
We are shit-stained, tooth-bleached, nutsack deep in planning episode 300.
Yep.
And in doing so, for episode 200, friend of the show Tim Wasson from the Challenge podcast created us an episode 200 poster that happened to coincide with the exact time we were doing CouchCon. Made a beautiful poster for us. We had a ton of people on that episode, maybe like 15, 17 guests. One of the longest episode we've done to date, so much so that we had to chop it up into mini segments. Yeah. People signed the poster, and we sent some of those posters around the world to people who participate with the program and who donate money to us via Patreon.
Yeah, well, have you talked to Chris lately? Is he doing okay?
I think he's doing great.
Okay.
And we are creating this new poster for episode 300, and I say for the people that are interested in it, let us know. We're going to have a big bowling extravaganza. I think this poster is really cool. I made it out of construction paper.
Yarn?
And no yarn,
but
it's going to be very colorful, very kind of a mid-century style.
No, it's awesome.
And it's going to incorporate bowling aspects and the flight aspects of what we do here every week on Couch Pilots.
Yep, and you're going to find out more about that next week. Spoiler alert, there's a special guest next week.
Big episode happening on multiple fronts. Big episode.
Got a great interview, got a great guest,
yep.
and we clarify and lock down what's going to happen on the 300th episode of Couch Pilots.
Absolutely. I'm very excited for next week's episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you tune in next week. And I hope that with these last 2 episodes of this season, you have a couple more compliments to give me, Blake.
I got it, and today was a perfect example.
Okay.
All right? There's a situation, you're like, anytime. You're like, any of my friends, not just me, you said, any of my friends know they could call me at any time. And you're going to pick up the phone and be there for them. And that's a big thing. Because nowadays, people aren't like that. You know what I mean? It used to be in the old days, you needed something, you called your buddy or whatever, and they drop, the farmers, hey, my tractor broke down. 3 guys would bring tractors. They get the field done.
Sure.
You're my farmer friend.
Okay.
And
I'll take it.
And I appreciate for that. It's cool. I don't think I would do that for everybody.
You definitely wouldn't do it for me.
No, I would do it for you, but not everybody.
That's just joking. Yeah, I had a buddy call me a couple months ago, and he said, I ran out of gas on an overpass.
Oh, shit.
He's like, can you come bring me some gas? I said, I'm at Walmart. I'm going to check out right now. I'll go home. I'll grab my gas can, fill it up, and take care of you. And we did it.
Yeah.
And we got him going again. If you treat people good, hopefully, eventually it comes back around.
Carmela. They call that
Yeah,
Carmela.
it's Carmela is what it's called. And if hopefully with someday when you're in need, those people will be there for you.
Sure.
So I try to be good to the people that I love and pretty good to the people I don't love.
Amen to that.
So thank you for that compliment. And thank you, everyone, for listening, because this pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everyone, and we shall see you next time.
Later, taters.